So I would like to welcome you to the presentation of the 2014-2015 UN Student Leadership Conference on Development Plan of Action. Represented here today in New York are schools from New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, as well as the city of Makati. Remotely, we have students from Mexico City, as well as our global audience online, which I'm hoping they're joining us right now since we got that link up. In a way, today is the culmination of work that began almost 2 years ago in the fall of 2013. Many of the students here have been working on projects since then with us. However, culmination is a misnomer. Instead, today should be viewed as a call to action. The plan that is being presented to the Youth Envoy, Mr. Ahmed Alhendawi, how did I do? All right, is a serious pledge to take action on the issues of development, health and nutrition, business responsibility, education, clean water, and sanitation. As excited as I am to hear from the students today about what you have been doing and what you have accomplished on these issues, I'll be even more excited to hear back from you in 6 months, a year, 2 years to see where you've taken this plan of action. To paraphrase a famous saying and a poem, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. Today we are taking those first steps, but we have promises to keep and miles to go before we sleep. So I'd like to turn it over to Zayn, who has been with us. Zayn Abaakil, she is from UNICEF Voices of Youth. I'm going to switch out here. Yes. She has been with us through much of this journey, and I'd like to have her introduce us.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. So I'm here today because I want to know more about the process and how you guys found working collaboratively to come up with great solutions to make our world a better place. I don't know if you remember before when I spoke to you, the biggest issue for me and the most important one, the one that is in the forefront, is the environment, the climate crisis. So I always talk about it. I always want us to focus on it. And I see that in the plan of action, you've done it and you really raise important concerns. And, but for me, the most important is how you feel, and that's what I want to get out of this session. Also, at the end of the session, is how do you feel we can actually make those changes, apply them in different levels. So, make corporation more responsible, take government accountable, and then us. You and us with you. How can we really concretely make these changes every day with things that we do every day? And I wanted to add something because I tell you also about Voices of Youth and how important Voices of Youth is, because it is the space for you to say what you think, to say what you do, to look at what other people are doing, etc. But another thing that we are doing right now, it's called, and I told you about digital mapping also before, so it's called Voices of Youth Maps. And what we're doing right now in December, it's going to be a big conference organized by the UN and other parties that are going to come and discuss what can we do for the climate, how we can change the issue of climate. Because the issue of climate touches everything you guys have talked about, from education, health, situations of emergencies, everything, all of that is related, and it's always related. So the discussion is going to be around what can the governments do, but we want to know what young people could do, because it's our generation, it's us. We are going to be able to affect it and change it. We're going to be able to do that. Generations before us, and I always tell you that as well, generations before us also felt that, oh my God, it's overwhelming. How are we going to change the world? It's overwhelming. It's all on us and all on, and it shouldn't be our fault and it shouldn't be our responsibility. But they did it. They took action. That's why I tell you this, the world is getting better in a lot of elements, but the climate is not getting better, and we really need to do something about it. So I engage you all. I will send a link to Sabrina and Wayne and to your teachers and pass it around. I engage you all to come and map. And what do I mean by that? Is take pictures of elements in your community. where you see that actually are challenges and issues related to the environment, but also the positive actions that are taking place with your communities to actually address the issue of the climate crisis and the environment, because it's important to share these practices with the global community, because you can take a great example that's been going on in Mexico, and Mexico can take a great example that's been happening in the Philippines, and this is what we do here. We bring countries together, we bring people together, group cultures, and we try to come up with solutions. And also, to finish, sorry, I get really taken by this topic, but I just want to congratulate you all for the amazing work that you have been doing, because, thanks to you, I can see that light, that hope that something is going to happen, and it starts with you guys. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, and so now we're going to turn it over to Mackenzie Moyer, who was one of our co-chairs from the event in February. And Mackenzie, take it away.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. As she said, my name is Mackenzie Moyer, and I was a co-chair at the conference exactly 4 months ago, with Brian Friedman. We were co-chairs together. It's been exactly 4 months since the last time we all met together to draft the plan of action. And since then, it's been edited and tweaked by a lot of people, and it's been perfected, hopefully. Well, the work's never really done, but we got it as good as we can to present the UN Envoy for Youth. Thank you for being here today. And this document is symbolic for lots of reasons. And it's a representation of our collaboration and cooperation of students from around the world. Students who've never met face-to-face or have barely even heard each other's voice, with the students from Pakistan who didn't have internet connection half the time, and just from a lot of places who had to email us or couldn't even see us. And this document is it's an example of the power of youth, of the work that can be done when we're given the opportunity to be heard. And perhaps most importantly it's our voice. It's a voice united. It started small, but we nurtured it, and with a lot of hard work, it's grown much stronger. And it's very, very important. And as young people in the world, it is our responsibility to be aware and involved with the world we will inherit. And it's going to be our responsibility to improve it and to attend to it and to make it better for the people who have to live in it. And so this is only the beginning. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, now I would like to have Brian, who was our other co-chair, hence the word co. Actually, I'm sorry. I skipped over Kaliho Karabauer. I apologize, guys. I'm trying to move too quickly here. I would love to turn it over to our colleagues in Mexico City so that they can make their opening remarks. I apologize, guys. I didn't mean to skip over you. Luckily, I have two very competent co-chairs here to keep me on track.
Okay, make good.
Good morning. On behalf of Colegio Carlsbad School, students, Doctora Sandra Maldonado, and Fundación Cultural Board, I wish to express how grateful we are for having the opportunity to participate in this conference. My personal experience being in the United Nations, coordinating and editing my desk, and being conscious how important this will be to help us to make a different earth and a different world, because we have to take care of the future. And so with education, drop by drop, an ocean can be filled. And we believe these kind of conferences are really worth the effort, because the awareness they awake will never be forgotten.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And now I would like to turn it over to Brian Friedman, who is one of our co-chairs, to read the preamble of the plan of action.
Hello, Mr. Alhendawi. Hello to Ms. Zayn Abaakil, to Mr. Wayne Jacoby, to Ms. Cusimano, to my co-chair, Mackenzie Moyer, to all those who are present and to all those who are not present with us but are watching or participating, such as Kalisha Karl Bar, or any who are watching this webcast currently. What follows is our final plan of action for the United Nations Student Leadership Conference on Development. We, the youth, have united with the intent of addressing the future which we will inherit, create, and pass down to those who come after us. Tomorrow will be forged by today's youth to a degree incomparable to that of any era prior. The information age which we now inhabit has provided voice where there was silence before, and communication amongst those who long for change. It is a new world that today's youth were born into and shall become the pioneers of. It is with these tools of information and communication that we can address the growing pains of development, most notably sanitation and clean water, education, food security and nutrition, and sustainability in business. It is with optimism that we inquire of solutions on both a local and global level, keeping in mind peace and human rights for all. Proposal of realistic solutions, able to be implemented by those proposing, is what will allow progress to be made in the aforementioned fields. Though initially small, the impact will be large. Proposed solutions are to have purpose and potential with a reach far beyond those of the implementers. The growth and change of these ideas is crucial to their survival. We must continue to breathe life into them by carrying out these propositions and proposals. We must not only be an example, but an inspiration. The hope is that the students gathered will unite their minds and reforge an often forgotten and abandoned path of justice and peace. Rooted passionately in the idea that every human is infinitely valuable and deserves their basic rights, the youth of today will be a beacon of light in an often dark world. Combined effort, cooperation, and a firm sense of justice in this technology age shall allow us to hold hands with our brothers and sisters over oceans and mountains and come together as one humanity, individual, but intrinsically linked by coexistence. Thank you.
Awesome. I was just trying to get some of that out on the social media as you were reading it. So I would like now to turn it back over to Colegio Carol Bauer for comments on the conference. We'd like to hear what you all have been doing with these issues, some of the projects you all have undertaken. If you could please share with us what's been happening since we met 4 months ago.
Hi everyone. I'm really glad to see familiar faces. I'm Giovanna for those who know me and don't remember me. On my personal opinion, I think there were two things that caused a lot of impact in all of us. First of all, even though Pakistan was having severe problems, they found their way to keep contact and contribute with the conference, and I think that's really awesome. And also the fact that we on video conference with hundreds of...
Wait. Can you hear us?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
With hundreds of Philippine people, and they were under smooth and disposition, even though they were, for them, it was 3 a.m. in the morning. So in conclusion, we are really excited to be part of this big change and to know that there are still people who cares. And well, right now, there have been several projects in our school, how to grow like the fungi, the alternative food, and also the cleaning of our lake. That is a thing that we do each year. So that's mostly of why we have the conference. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does anybody else have any comments from Mexico City before we take it away here?
Hi, I'm Kenta Kaneku, and I went to the conference a year ago. And we were also talking about environmental sustainability. And actually, school organizes science fairs to assess environmental responsibility in every student, so they can be green agents in their families, in their homes, in their neighborhood and community, forming green change. So with education, drop by drop, an ocean can be filled. And we believe this kind of conferences are really worth the effort because the awareness they awake will never be forgotten. As of today, there are still some projects that I'm taking part of. There's an extracurricular class of biochemistry, and we are trying to melt aluminum to help reduce the pollution here in Mexico, and try to create useful objects with the aluminum after being melted. And thus we are helping the environment in Mexico, and we're trying to improve some other aspects by creating these tools that from the aluminum molten, and so they can help other projects. And I believe it's a very good way to improve what we are trying to make here in Mexico, that it's to make more green projects, because the pollution here in Mexico is a really great problem, and we're trying to solve it piece by piece. Thank you.
Amazing. The projects that you guys are working on sound absolutely incredible. And anytime you want to have me come down and check out what you've been doing, I would love to see the projects in person. Anybody else want to come down with me? Yeah. Sounds good, right? All right. We have a whole room full of people who want to come down and see what you all are working on. All right. Any other comments from Mexico City?
Any other comments? Any other comments? Any?
No, thank you. We're good for now.
All right. So now I would like to hear from the students that are here around this table. Does anybody want to share some of the projects they've been working on in their schools? It looks like you're already poised to start talking.
Yes. I'd like to say after like my school and all my teachers found out about this conference and that I'd gone and like what it was all about. My Global Perspectives class, my teacher has everyone in my class. She had me speak to them and tell them what I did and what I was doing in New York. And so she's had my whole class. We're all working, we all have sections of Africa, and we're all drafting different plans of action. And I know it's not like an immediate project, but one of the things we talked about was that awareness is one of the most important things. And so I think that, I mean, even though we're just starting out with my class, soon it'll be my school, and then it'll be a community, and then a whole bunch of people will know all about it. And I just think that's a really great thing that happened because of this.
So 1 becomes 30, and then 30 becomes 300, and then all of a sudden it's a whole community. So I love that. All right. Other comments on what we've been doing, or are we ready? Are we ready to present the plan? Then maybe we can talk a little more after. I don't want to hold up our guests here too long. So if we could maybe move on to the presentation of the plan of action here, and then we'll talk a little more after.
Okay.
Let's do that.
We just go hand it to them.
Say some, say some August words.
Say some speech-worthy words. All right. Well, this plan of action, I know Brian and I edited it for several hours together over a call, and it was amazing because it was over 30 pages. It was really long, and we got it
closer to 40 pages at the beginning of it.
Yeah, it was really long, and it was just all these ideas from all these different people all over the world with different, like completely different lives, completely different situations, and all deeply rooted in this passion to help other people and to help the world. And I know a lot of people don't necessarily care as much as we do, but it's just so motivating when we see that there are people around the world who do, and that we have to accept the responsibility, and we have to take up our arms and, and plow through. And because before we know it, we're going to be working at the UN, or we're going to be doing something where this really matters. And so it's amazing. These pages aren't just pages, they're ideas and their thoughts, and they're important for people to hear.
All right.
If I may add, in this very lengthy editing process, we wanted to very much focus on the idea of local solutions, which an everyday person could do, as opposed to the more lofty goals. I don't think that was necessarily. I know that the more lofty goals are our end goal, yes. But what we wanted to stress in this plan of action was more, what can a person do to enact change in their community, which can lead to a great change in, say, governments or nations?
It's very daunting for a single person to try to tackle lots of world issues, much less a student conference. But by making it doable for students, for schools, we've made more people. We're hoping to make more people feel like they can pitch in instead of saying leave it to the government. Government rules citizens, and we are the citizens, so we have to be the ones to do it. We have to be the ones to make the change. So that was our goal with this.
All right. And before you hand that over, I'd like to just let everybody know who you are presenting it to. This is the UN Youth Envoy, as we've mentioned several times. His name is Ahmed Alhendawi. He serves as a youth advocate on the regional, national, and international levels. He is the co-founder both of the Youth for Democracy Network in Jordan and the International Youth Council in New York. His role as youth envoy is to bring young people into the UN system. He works with UN agencies, governments, NGOs, academia, and media outlets to enhance, empower, and strengthen the position of young people globally and locally. So thank you so much for being with us today. And if you would please present the plan of action. And I'm going to get out of the way. Yes, come on down.
So, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Or maybe I can say a few words.
Yes, please.
Well, good morning and welcome to the United Nations. And thank you very much for this very interesting plan of action. Actually, the second time I received it. Last year, I remember the event we had together. It was at UNICEF. And always very impressed with the amount of work, commitment, and talents that goes in this document. Very impressive. So I'd like to thank you again for your hard work in this document and this process, particularly to both of you, Mackenzie and Brian, for your hard work in putting this together. I think there are more countries joining this year. Last year, I remember 2 countries, right? Or was it the same number of countries? Almost the same. And different time zones and different, I would say, different realities from a country to another. So it's impressive how you managed to put it all together. I think I'm reading the document. It's exactly what you mentioned, Brian. You're not calling governments only. You're not calling the United Nations to act. Because the simplest thing to do is to start calling others to act. And that's what I often, when I read declarations and recommendations, it only talks about what others should do, but not about what we should do. I think what you are stressing in this document are things that students could do. And you're urging students, encouraging them, and emphasizing the responsibility of individuals, not only governments. I think that's the word where we're trying to as we're debating development agenda, we're stressing the importance of individuals, not only of companies or of governments, because everybody has a share in this. We often say that nobody can do everything, but everybody can do something. And I think that's what you are trying to say in this document. I like the 4 areas that you have highlighted. I think they resonate very well with what the United Nations is trying to do now. I have to explain to you something very important, because what's the age group here? How old are you? Like the co-chairs, I would say.
We are both 17.
17.
We're 17.
And I imagine.
I'm 15.
15.
15.
Okay.
22.
22. Well, it's okay. I'm 31. Well, you're 15.
Yes.
15 years ago, what happened in the world was very interesting, actually. The first time in the history of humanity, the entire world agreed on a set of development goals. All world leaders, they met here in New York 15 years ago, and they said, we are going to put 8 development goals. These are called the MDGs. Are you familiar with MDGs? And that was a very interesting exercise, because the board never did this before. We never had like a kind of a roadmap for development or agreement, development contract that brings all countries around the world. And the first few years, everybody was skeptical about whether this would work or would not work, because nobody really get the concept. What does it mean to have global agenda for development? Now, 15 years after, have made amazing progress with achieving some of these goals. Child education, eradicating extreme poverty, issues related to maternal mortality, and other goals. Now this year, the deadline for these 8 goals was 15 years to achieve them. And 15 years and 193 governments, yet we were not able to achieve all the goals. And there were only 8 goals. But they are daunting challenges for the entire humanity to eradicate extreme poverty. Of course, there was some important progress, but there are new challenges now that emerge, and there are new opportunities. The world is very different from what it used to be 15 years ago. So what's happening this year is very interesting, and I want you to leave this building today knowing that you have a responsibility to be part of it. In September, the world will meet again, the world leaders, and they will agree on something new called the Sustainable Development Goals. Goals for the next 15 years. So you are an example. When we achieve, hopefully, the Sustainable Development Goals, you'll be 30 years old. So you're like I would say, the generation of the MDGs, the SDGs, because you're born in the same year when the MDGs came to agreement and the world endorsed this set of development agenda. So what you have to do, I'm going to give you a homework today. What you have to do is you have to check out and to Google and read more about the Sustainable Development Goals. Because many of the points you highlighted here are going to be commitments made by all the world leaders. And some of the points in your call for action is basically things that the entire world and the United Nations are going to commit themselves to implement. So, but nobody can do this alone, and the governments alone, they cannot really implement these goals without the active involvement and engagement of citizens. So that's why you have to check these goals and to see what's going to happen in September here at the United Nations. It will be a very interesting time for us because now we know there will be not 8 goals, there will be 17 goals. And they cover almost everything. And whether you are passionate about education, you're passionate about eradicating extreme poverty, employment, energy, oceans, you can do something about it because all that will be outlined in the new development agenda. You know, Ban Ki-moon, the Secretary General, he puts it nicely. He said, we are the first generation that could eradicate extreme poverty and the last generation that could reverse the climate change. You see how interesting this time is. It's extremely interesting because we might be the last generation that could do something about the climate change before it's too late. But we are the first generation that has the tool, the fortune, the power, and the talent, basically, to eradicate extreme poverty. So I'm not talking only about your call for action, I'm talking about how to link it with the global plan for action. So what you have here, you really have to compare notes now and to look to your call and to see how this basically is echoing what is going to be agreed in September. Now, the second thing is how to build a movement that is not like, you would not basically end this process by agreeing in a call for action and handing this document to me. But you are starting a new movement, basically, that you would align all this energy and the talents of, where they disappear, all the students in these different countries to join in implementing the new development agenda. So this is like for everyone. I think your work comes at a very exciting time for all of us, because this is the time where we're deciding what would be the roadmap for development for 15 years to come. So this is the time where lots of the calls here and the recommendations and the, I would say the ideas you have here will be taken into consideration, and some of these points already have been reflected in the new development agenda. So again, I think this is a great product. This is a great work. And again, I really admire that you didn't fall in that trap of calling others to act and forgetting about your own responsibility. You are highlighting what the students, what you yourself could do. But we want you to align your work with the work of the United Nations at large. And my last point, this is a very unique building, by the way. Is this your first time here at the UN?
No, they've all been here for the conference, except for, of course, I believe we have two two first-timers, correct?
Two first.
Because they've traveled all the way from the Philippines to be here for this. So.
Wow, great. I'm going to the Philippines in August, and my colleague April from the Philippines, so we have to connect. But I have to tell you, this building is very unique because this is one of the few buildings in the world where you have 193 nationalities every day in the same building. So this is the world's, I would say, house somehow, and all the issues you could imagine are being debated at this building. And you have to feel the ownership of this place because the UN is not only a building; it's very much a concept, and the concept will only continue to exist and be relevant with the commitment of all individuals. Just think about the human being existed for thousands of years. It was only until 70 years ago that they decided to establish one organization that would bring all nationalities together. So I think you are extremely on the right track, I would say big time, because at 16, 17, 15, even 22, even 31, being mindful and committed to these causes is the only guarantee that our world would be a better place. So once again, congratulations. I think this is becoming a very nice annual tradition for us to meet every year to learn about these recommendations and ideas. But please make sure to compare the notes between your call and the Global Development Agenda, and be involved in our work. If you don't know where to find more, you can visit our website and Voices of Youth as well, and you'll learn many, many opportunities about what the United Nations is offering for you. So thank you very much, and hands to you as well.
And if we have just a few quick minutes to ask maybe one or two questions. Mexico City, if you've got a question for the UN envoy.
Oh, yes, we have a question. I have a question. We are sure that we, the youth, are the change, but there are a lot of young ones in the world. In your opinion, what should we do to pass on these ideals of change to those who don't have the opportunity to know a lot about these ideals?
Well, I think you know that nobody can bring the change alone. We need to work together. The fact that you establish a network from different countries and you're talking to others and you bring a movement, basically, is the only guarantee for change. Change needs a movement and needs people to come together. So it doesn't matter how great your ideas are, you have to work with others and you have to coordinate with others. I think that's the way to bring your ideas to existence. And I think this is at a time where we can't afford to do things individually or not to collaborate with others. So my only hope is that you would leave this building and this after handing this declaration with a renewed commitment, basically, to work together. And I hope really that this network will not disappear after, because that's the only guarantee that how you could spread the word and get more people in for, as you mentioned, ideas is starting a theory class. It will go to your university, your school, and then the entire community, they will be involved. And I think you have to be determined and consistent and to keep working and build partnerships. I think I am a big believer in the importance of working with others and bringing everybody on board. The second point, I guess, is not to allow the frustration or the disappointments to discourage you. There will be, like in any battle or in anyone who wants to bring change will always sometimes find some discouragement along the way. So you have to be always focused and determined that you want to achieve your goals. I think young people are interested, like the sources. They are the sources basically for change everywhere around the world. I was in Egypt back in 2011 at the Arab Spring, and I remember like seeing hundreds of thousands of young people in the streets. Young people basically are voters. You will be voting soon, and you can drive the government out of office if you don't like them. And they are consumers. And if you don't like a business, or like you describe of us, I think the word you used here, environmentally responsible businesses, right? And if you see a company that is not sustainable or not doing enough for the environment, you can drive them out of market basically by boycotting them, by deciding not to, as a consumer, not to buy their products. And not only as voters and consumers, but also as innovators. See who are leading the big innovations around the world today. They're all young people. Most of the technologies we are using today, they are innovated by young people. So as innovators, consumers, and voters, you can drive change, but also as networkers and bringing others and building movements. So, yeah.
All right. Do we have a question from around this table? Someone who hasn't spoken, maybe? Pressure on those of you who have been very quiet. Someone have a question, please? Someone who hasn't said anything. Come on, guys.
We have rather a question, a commentary. It's
okay. Go ahead.
Thank you. We wanted to share that Mexico, 100 years ago, 80 out of 100 people were illiterate, and today only 3 out of 100 people are illiterate. Well, I think that's a great and fantastic statement for education. Thank you.
Absolutely. What a difference 100 years makes, right? And most of that time without social media. How is that even possible, right? No, I'm kidding. All right.
I just want to add something on the SDGs, on the Sustainable Development Goals. Ahmed was talking about it, but also, before we came up with those goals, it was this, right? It was this website where, like, the world we want, and then young people could, like, say what are the important issues for them. So these goals actually, like, cover everything. And now, if you Google them, like Ahmed said, you can actually go and comment on them and comment on these goals and see like how you can implement them. You can also talk about what you do and see what other people are also doing around it. So everything is related, and you're absolutely right. Like everything is possible, and it's great to link it with what's already happening, because actually the UN, by bringing Ahmed in, the idea was actually to bring your voices in the forefront, so that your voices are extremely important. This time we didn't do that before. This is a new thing, and so you have to use it. The opportunity is there, so you have to use it. The same way, like right now, for no pressure, but the ones that have been quiet, it's also a great opportunity for you to ask questions to Ahmed, because it's great, to have him here, and he can maybe give you a guide if you want to know a guidance around something, or it's a great opportunity to also use it. So use those opportunities that are right in front of you. Okay. Okay, that was precious.
All right. So last chance, someone who hasn't spoken yet to ask a question. If not, we're going to turn it over to somebody who has spoken.
I've spoken, but.
All right. However.
Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just curious as to exactly, do you travel around the world and speak to all different youth of nationalities? What's that like?
That's amazing. I traveled to 60 kind of places in 2 years. I traveled to many countries, and met with young people everywhere. And you will be surprised to see how similar young people are in terms of their aspirations are very similar. They all want good education. They all want to be recognized as individuals, as citizens. They want decent job opportunity. They want basically to be offered with a good healthcare system that is tailored to their needs. The similarities are remarkably, I would say, similar somehow. And I'm always amazed by meeting young people in different places and see their innovation and how they are trying to help their communities, even against all odds sometimes. But they are able to innovate and bring something. I think something I really learned, and now probably I'm a firm believer in this concept of global citizenship. The more you travel, you realize, I was born Jordanian, but that doesn't mean anything, obviously. I have this legal document, this passport, but I think it's all about the global citizenship today. Being the citizen of the globe. Most of the challenges you have today, no governments alone can respond to them. If you talk about climate change, would it be enough, for example, that the government of the United States decided to tackle climate change alone? Would that be enough? Not be sufficient at all. I mean, you need a global coordination. We need international cooperation. We need a global citizenship. We need a global solidarity. Just recently, the earthquake in Nepal, for example, was like one country who responded to that. The entire world came together to provide the assistance and the support. And that's the global solidarity we need. We're a global family, so one global family. And this is not a nice talk. This is really what I believe today. Wherever you go, like one country I visited, Papua New Guinea, there are only 6 million people, but they speak 800 languages.
Wow.
It's amazing. And 800 languages for 6 million people is like an amazing country. And see, like people were migrating from all over the world, 300, 400 years ago. And you see how similar we are. Like the color is different, the origin, the ethnicity, the religion, but that's just really behind the point. When you think about it, if you go to the space and you look, and there's a very nice meeting, we're going to bring him actually, the movie maker, is a movie it's called, I guess, Overview. You have to check it actually. Talks about Overview. Talks about the story of astronauts who came back from the space, and Russians and Americans, and they were like basically trained how to fight each other, and they ended up in the same space shuttle up there, looking to the planet Earth, and thinking, wow, well, this is really behind the point. It's like this is a small planet, and we're already riding it for 70, 80, 90 years, and we're going. So then when you see the world from this perspective, and you really, have much more tolerance, acceptance to others. I even don't like the word coexistence. This coexistence, it feels like you're forcing yourself to coexist with others. Let's talk about acceptance, genuine acceptance to others, that we're different, but we're equal at the same time. We're all different. We look different, but we're equals in terms of our rights, responsibilities. I think that concept of global citizenship is what the United Nations is promoting, and what Ban Ki-moon himself is very passionate about. And what myself was, it always, get another confirmation everywhere I go, from Kenya to Papua New Guinea to Mali to Somalia to Jordan to France to Copenhagen. You will find people born in different circumstances, but they haven't chosen like where they will be born. And it might sound too idealistic what I'm telling you, but believe me, it's not. I'm very pragmatic. People know this about me. But this is the word. It's most of the things and the conditions we are struggling with or we're enjoying are things that we haven't chosen in the first place. And I think this global citizenship concept is where I'm just a citizen of the globe, and I happen to be from Jordan, which I'm proud of, and I like my country, but I like all countries around the world, and I think we're remarkably similar in so many aspects, and I think that's what we need to remind everybody of. When you think about all the conflicts around the world today, most of the conflicts, they are man-made conflicts. They are not earthquakes or natural disasters. Most of the killings in Somalia and Syria and DRC and other places are caused by people, and just you wonder sometimes, like, what could drive a person to kill a fellow human being, and to reach that point. And I think calling for peace and coming together in a global solidarity, to call for peace and to protect the rights of young people, it should not be an idealistic. It should be basically a survival mechanism for the humankind, because it's ridiculous what's happening sometimes. We're killing each other for senseless killing, basically, what's happening in many parts of the world. And I always receive the question, what the United Nations is doing to solve all these conflicts. And I tell them, well, I think we're much more efficient in responding to Ebola, for example, because that was a disease that we have to respond to. But we should not forget that human beings, they have a share in this. And most of these killing and these conflicts are caused by men who are fighting other men, and that has to be fixed. So I hope that you will be more inspired to work for global peace and development, regardless of where you live. You've got to start somewhere, of course, in your community or your village, but don't ever lose this global vision that this planet, this world is too small, to be honest, to divide it. We can't afford. And I think as we encounter more natural disasters and more problems, we realize more and more that we have to come to each other and to come to each other closer, to seize the opportunities and to tackle the challenges at the same time. So It was very interesting, guys. I mean,
Ahmed, last year, with your remarks, the team that was here got together and they put together 4 sub-themes that are in the plan of action that they've just completed. And it came from, it was really initiated by you, from you, with your remarks. They're going to do the same thing this summer. They spend part of the summer putting together sub-themes, background documents, teacher preparation materials, everything, so it's all ready for them. And there are a couple things that you're talking about that maybe we weren't thinking that much about, that maybe we would want to consider. The climate change piece.
Climate change, global citizenship.
Certainly has an effect on poverty as well. But we're looking at those Millennium Development Goals and moving to the Sustainable Development Goals. That was all part of what everybody was involved in doing this year. And this particular conference is working towards 2030, when all of you are in the prime of your life to really have that better world that you all want. And no, now you can have it. But you have to continue doing what you're doing now to be part of the solution. You learn, and then you do. And you keep on going towards 2030 to reach that.
And 2030 is not far away, by the way. Huh? When they adopted the MDGs 15 years ago, they thought 15 years. But 2030 is around the corner for if you want to achieve this 17 big goals. We better start yesterday, not tomorrow. There's no time to waste here. What you can do is to push your governments and everyone to do more actions. Be as annoying as possible. Actually, that's what my job at the UN is, to be annoying for everyone. Just keep annoying everyone, the ambassadors, the officials. What are you doing? And just you have to shake up the system, and you have to make noise, and you have to constantly remind them of their commitments. Just last week, we hosted a high-level event of the General Assembly to commemorate the 20th anniversary of something we call the World Program of Action for Youth. Basically, 20 years ago, all governments, they came and made a commitment for youth, and they put this commitment in something called World Program of Action for Youth. And 20 years after, we wanted them to come back. Tell us what happened to that commitment. You made a commitment. So, well, we want to remind you, and we want to renew it, but also we have to make sure that you are committed as well to that commitment. So don't be afraid to speak up and to be as annoying as possible, because this is your right. I mean, nobody has a right to decide about your future without you, or to keep giving you promises, particularly politicians. Huh? So, yeah.
If I may ask, in that same realm of things, regarding the whole contract of sustainable development, it's a wonderful concept. It would be fantastic in an ideal world, but since we don't live in an ideal world, where is the accountability for the countries?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Part of the discussion there is the accountability element. And for me, the accountability happens at the national level. If you vote in your country, you have to make sure that you ask your politicians. And you have to establish mechanism at the national level. Believe me, accountability is not a word governments like to talk about or to hear about. They don't like it, because they know it will bring them just too annoying for them. We come to the UN, we make these nice promises, and we go back and nobody knows about it. Who should drive the accountability? Honestly, I must admit, I have very little faith of having officials doing this accountability element. It has to come from the people. And you need watchdog organization, you need civil society organization that would make sure that the governments live up to their commitments, and they constantly basically naming and shaming whenever it's possible that you have done this and you are lagging behind this, and that's the job of the people. And the people who are through civil society organization, they have to do it. Accountability, that's the only guarantee for me of getting more people engaged and holding the governments accountable. And when you vote in any elections, you have to basically remind your governments or the politicians of the commitments they have made 4 years ago, or they are planning to make. So that's the accountability element. Sorry, I'm just being very, very frank here, because I don't really believe governments can hold themselves accountable to it doesn't work. You need an external source, and that's civil society organization and again people. So that's an excellent point. Yeah.
All right. On
I
that,
have somebody waiting in the office at 11:30, but I will.
yes, absolutely. So I'd like to thank you now very much for being with us. Thank you.
This is really amazing, and I can't wait to see you 10 years from now where you will be, guys. I think you'll be in great places, and I hope to see many of you here at the UN one day.
Yes.
Are you planning to work here one day?
Yes.
Possibly. Huh? Okay. I think the UN will be lucky to have you. So, well, thank you.
The group picture.
Group
Okay, let's
shot
do
here.
a quick picture. Yeah.
Yeah, group shot
Okay.
here.
You guys want to do it? So everybody's here?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna take a group picture real quick. Mexico City, don't leave us yet.
I'll do it.
Don't leave us yet here because we're gonna do closing remarks.
Sorry.
You want to take your camera and do it?
No, I just wanted the youth. Thank you. Thank you.
I love these guys.
All right.
Okay, wonderful.
Thank you
very
so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mackenzie.
And if I could turn it over to Zayn very quickly.
Yes,
For some closing remarks, please.
Of course.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you.
So that was great. That was great to have Ahmed with us because really, like I said before, this is an opportunity, and we have, and you always have to it's a great chance to be able to ask him directly what are some of the ideas that we could do, So already you guys have done such a, I know I repeat myself, but you've done such a great job putting this document together. Great job editing it, making sure that it's things that are doable, and at a local level. But when Ahmed was mentioning about, when he was talking about, how like holding your governments accountable, etc., he's absolutely right. There are look around you, there are a lot of things that you could do. And I give you like two examples, one like traditional example and one like modern example. One traditional one is you can write a letter to your elected officials. I come from a country where we don't really have elected officials. So it's really difficult for us to talk to if I write a letter to my local government, like the letter is never going to get there. However, when you are from here, where you are from democracies, where you are from places where you actually can hold your government accountable, you have to do it. You can't just let it I know there is a lot of corruption everywhere. We know, of course. But, I'm from that part of the world. So what I mean is that you have to be able to use the proper channels and do it. So there's that. And there's the other thing that we have called the internet, which is super, super awesome. So what we can do with that is actually you can tweet, and then most of officials and most of head of governments and head of states have Twitter accounts. They have Facebook pages, they have all of that. So you can call on them and use a hashtag. So you can use a hashtag that's pretty, a hashtag that can call some sort of like a buzz, by saying, okay, last generation. Hashtag, we are the last generation that can change the climate crisis. If we don't do it, it's too late. It's going to be too late to change anything. I'm sorry, I don't mean to freak you out, but it's kind of like what's happening. So if you actually use a hashtag such as last generation and then, call on, I don't know, Cuomo or good Obama or whomever, whomever is important, who can make actually something and tell them. Countries like Mexico, countries like the United States, countries like the Philippines are extremely important in the table of negotiations. So if actually young people come and say, hey, this is me, this is my future, and your children's future and everybody else's future, do something about it. We have to do something about it. We have to hold companies accountable. We have to hold governments accountable. We have to make sure we work together to make something happen. So this is what I'm saying. And what Ahmed was saying is that you have the tools and you have to use them. Don't let it just pass you by, because don't just come and just pass by this life, and then you're doing this, then it's great on your resume, then you can get in a great college, and then you're gonna get a job, and then this and that. Well, all of that is not gonna count if the world is going bad. So it's not gonna work out. So you have to do something. You have a responsibility. And I know you're gonna think many, and I'm sorry I'm making this very long, but I know that we blame the other generations that have done like, that didn't care about like getting like fishnets that would kill anything that is in the ocean, about, just because they needed to make money so fast and so quick, etc. Right? I know we blame them for doing this, for building this like, these like corporations that use so much like plastic and so much, destroying forests and doing all these things. And I know it sounds also so super, super overwhelming, but we have to start somewhere. We can't just say it's overwhelming, sit back, and watch, I don't know, like our favorite TV show and say whatever, No, we can't do that. We can't. We really have to do this. I always say that, thanks to you guys, and every time, and this happens every year, every time I read what you guys have done, the work that you do with each other, it gives me hope. And I say, okay, I have not done a big mistake a year and a half ago by having a baby, and saying that he's gonna have a great future, right? So when I see what you guys do, and this is the beginning, what you're doing at the local level, what you're doing with your school, with your class, and this is extremely important. It looks small, but it's not small. It's big, because what you do, you told us here, and I think it's a great idea. And today, actually, when I'm going to write some ideas to the country offices that I'm working with at UNICEF, to tell them some ideas that they could do at the local level, I'm going to put your idea in. Right? So then the young people in all the different countries that I'm going to work with, which are about 100 of them, are going to be able to say, hey, you know what? This school in Zambia is going to do that. And this school in China is going to do it as well. And in India and in Paraguay are all going to do the same thing that you are doing. And we think and this is how you actually change the world, because every step you do is important, but don't forget to share it, to say it. To say I'm doing this, and just do it. I swear it's way like more like worth it than, I'm not telling you like don't watch TV and like don't play video games. Do, of course, do. You have to keep like your mind also out of all of this. But there are moments that you have to sit down and concentrate and make things happen. You can. And always no pressure. Thank you for having me again.
Am I allowed to piggyback off of that? Can I say like one comment about that? Okay. So actually about holding governments accountable, if I wasn't going to be here today, I would be in Harrisburg because I'm involved with an organization that deals with like sex trafficked women, and that's my passion. Your passion is the environment. That's my passion. Women and helping them. And there's going to be like a bill or a legislation that is passed involving minors being persecuted for being prostitutes and things like that. And I'm like, wow, that affects me. That I'm under 18, that would affect me. I would be there, like not picketing, but you know what I'm saying, just showing them. They're going to vote, I think it's today or tomorrow, they're going to vote on this piece of legislation. And so I'd be in Harrisburg being like, hey, this is what you got to do. This is why you got to do it. There are organizations out there you can get on their email list and be like, there are a lot of people who are going to be like, hey, I'm going here. If you're a young person involved in this, of course, I'll tell you where to go. I'll help you out. You just have to search it. Be like, get involved with churches around you or with your school. I'm sure your school has so many resources. You don't even have to look that far to get involved. You really don't. People are like, oh, people don't care. They do. There are so many people who are heads of organizations who will help you get involved, and then you'll be helping other people get involved. So it's not as hard as I think a lot of people make it out to be to reach your government call. There are scripts available to you. I've done it before. They're just like, okay, where are you calling from? Blah blah blah. We'll log it in with all the stuff. It's that simple. And then you're another person who has done that, and you're one person closer. So it just takes a few simple things.
And, you could do that just like this,
Exactly.
Is that you've been doing this whole time?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I do every day. So no, but you could just do that, and you have done something.
All right, we are getting the wrap-up signal. We have to get on to the next phase of today. So if I could turn it over to Wayne Jacoby for final remarks.
Okay, Mexico City, you're part of all this that we're talking about here right now. Hi, good to see everybody. I think I'm waving the right way.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi. I wanted to say a couple things that apply to everybody that was involved in this conference, from where it was when we started to format it this way. Zayn, 2 years ago? I think it was just 2 years ago. And how we moved from maybe 150, 180 students that were involved in it. We had votes this year from almost 400 people. Yes, no, abstentions related to different things. Seeing you move more and more towards what really needs to be an everyday thing that all of us do, and that is work and listen to what other people say from different places, from different cultures, to incorporate that into who you are, who we are. That's how we have to live together in the future. And I think where we've been with all of this, I don't want to cry, but this year, in putting this together, having been retired from teaching in a classroom for 20 years, I am really encouraged with what you started. We're here. I was looking for you to be here, and you're not there yet, but you're moving up. And why I wanted you to be in this room today was to experience it. Take a deep breath of where you are, who the people are that are here. Understand what they're doing and know that they're only going to do what needs to be done if you push them. And Ahmed was perfectly right when he said that. But it'll happen. It will be done. Your life tomorrow, you can envision it as being better. I hope I'm here to see it. But by 2030, you can really have accomplishments that you want, so your world is a lot better than it is today. But you can't sit here and be quiet. You have to be active. You have to be part of the solution. And don't sit around and have someone else do it for you. That's not what your generation's about. It's not going to work that way. Your generation is the first generation of this 21st century. And you want it to be a lot different than what was left from the first generation of the 20th century 100 years ago, the most violent century in the history of humankind. You can't go down that route. We've got all these issues that are out there. I would like everybody that's here and watching what's going on here today to keep in mind of where we're going with this, and know that the first full week after 4th of July here in the United States, we will have people, we call them the Dream Team, and they'll be in Philadelphia at Chestnut Hill College, and they'll be in a couple of other places as well to Skype in with us every once in a while. And we'll be putting together with your perspective. This is your conference. If you were at the Student Leadership Conference, it didn't feel that way, you were sound asleep, because it was yours from beginning to end. So you look at that result, it's yours. It's a youth student-based project, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. And we want to, need to, I think, must build on that every year. Take some of the things that Ahmed talked about, some things that now is pressing inside you that you haven't said to anybody yet, and get that incorporated in what it is that we're going to be doing for next year. Because in July into early August, we'll be putting together next year's UN Student Leadership Conference on Development. When I say that, I don't mean me or Sabrina or Zayn. I mean you. You have ideas about what's right and wrong about the world. We all see poverty. We all see poverty as the cause of so many of the wrongs and evils that are in our world today. And you have a key to open doors to get rid of that. And all you have to do is look at those Millennium Development Goals. I was at an international high school. I won't mention where, but it's a big one, 2 weeks ago. I couldn't find one student in that school who knew about the Millennium Development Goals and the Sustainable Development Goals. I could not believe that. So you're getting it in your schools. And now that you have it, don't keep it to yourself. Pass it on to others. Teachers, parents, neighbors, all of that. It's such an important thing for the better world tomorrow to achieve those things. And that's what you're doing in a conference like this. So as underclassmen, stay with it, build on it. It's now part of your life. As you move forward, make sure it stays as part of your life, and you get the education and you use it to make your world, the world, a better place tomorrow. That's it. I just want to take a couple minutes to this.
All right, so with that, I would like to again thank you all for coming to New York or joining us via video conference. This has been wonderful. I cannot wait to get started on next year, so I hope those of you who are underclassmen will join us again, and that's it. So thank you very much, and we're going to say goodbye from New York. To everybody watching online, to everybody watching through video conference. Bye.
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 Bye.